Don't know what to do for today's video. Time to get some inspiration from Bing, because I'm just copying him. This whole thing is just me copying him.
Hello, Future Bing. Today we're going to be talking about the Digital Economy Bill and why it is bad. For those of you who don't know, the Digital Economy Bill is a bill that passed during the wash-up period just before our general election in 2010.
So, being as Bing did a video talking about his dissertation while moving around and spinning, I figured I might as well do the same. Because I haven't really talked about what my dissertation is actually about yet on this project yet, so I'm going to do that now. So basically my dissertation is on the word most. So basically you can actually formulate language using logic and mathematical symbols in a way to create a sort of universal language. And you can do this using a thing called predicate logic or first order logic. And this is all very well until you get to the word most, which kind of messes up because scalars, things which indicate a scale like all, some, most, many, they kind of mess up the whole system. So my dissertation is basically trying to figure out how to solve that. And it's split into two things. A, how can I go about formalising most? And B, what does most actually mean? So as far as formalising most goes, in predicate logic there's two symbols, the existential quantifier and the universal quantifier. Now, for reasons I won't go into here because it's very long and complicated, you can't use these two quantifiers to express most, not for an infinite unknown amount of things. My suggestion, and the suggestion of a guy called David Wiggins, who's a pretty swell guy, is to introduce a most quantifier, a brand new quantifier into predicate logic. And to do this we need to create a whole different theory of meaning and truth for this quantifier, and that's basically what the first section of my dissertation is about. Now the second section is about what most means, and there's two schools of thought. There's the unilateral school of thought and the bilateral. Now the unilateral school of thought supposes that most means more than half, at least 50%, and possibly all. So the unilateral view supposes that encoded into the word semantically is more than half, and then the speaker might derive a not all implicature from the context of what someone says to exclude that reading. So basically, unilateral people argue that most only codes more than half. Bilateral people argue that most codes at least half, but not all. So sort of 51% to 99% is the bilateral standards. And they argue that both of those are encoded into the word, and that an all interpretation of most is derived pragmatically from implicatures. So what is implied by what the speaker says. And yeah, that's basically kind of a very brief outline of what my dissertation's about. And I'm going to sort of compare the two studies and think how can we get a more conclusive representation of most formally using the definitions. Because I think that the bilateral interpretation is the better one, because it just seems a bit more inclusive, a bit better, and works in more surroundings. And the woman that conducted the most research into it, her stuff is really good. But that's what my dissertation's about. I've been walking around filming myself. Hopefully, this has probably been really nauseating for everyone watching, just sort of me spinning around. Whoa! But yeah, that's what my dissertation is about.